Hello and welcome to the NextPlay Podcast, a gaming and pop culture podcast brought to you by the team behind NextPlay Australia. I'm your host, Jamie, and joining me today is Brad.
Hello.
And Berto.
Oops, hello. That's better.
Great start.
Great start.
On today's show, we will be discussing some recent layoffs at EA, an update on the Sleeping Dogs movie, more Xbox games are coming to PlayStation, and MultiVersus is kaput. But first, what have we been playing? Brad, would you like to start us off?
So all my gaming time lately is review time, so not much I can talk about. I did play a little bit more of Uncharted 3, but not a lot, so that's just like maybe half an hour to an hour each night before I go to bed on my portal. So that's it. I will have more to talk about next week.
Berto, how about yourself?
Once again, buying more than playing. So I've bought a couple more games this week in Balatro for the Switch, which came with these little cards that are pretty cool. And also another RPG or JRPG that I love, a series called Ease. I think that's how it's pronounced. But it's been going on forever. Action RPG. Again, at this point, I'm just collecting them because I know they're going to be hard to find, especially when Switch 2 comes around. So apart from that, just grinding out my review that I will hopefully be talking about soon for Tales. And I've also been testing some of the games that I bought. So I had the Ori double pack for the Switch, and I thought I'd actually try it out because I was like, surely it doesn't look as good as it did when I played it on the Game Pass on Xbox, and it looks amazing on Switch. I don't even know how they did it, but it's like almost faultless experience. So yeah, I'm planning to go to Fiji this week, so I do want to take some Switch games with me. So I think I might take Ori along. I haven't played the sequel properly. I've only played the first one, and I passed the first one, and it was awesome. What's the sequel again?
Will o' Wisps. No,
Yeah.
is that? Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, love that game. The first one, the music's incredible. Everything's incredible. So looking forward to that.
The sequel's fantastic as well. The way they do storytelling at Moon Studios is phenomenal. I love it. I think I've also played the Ease series. I think I reviewed Memories of Celceta, if I'm correct, back in the day on the Vita, of course. That's where I play all my weird games. But on my end, I have not had a lot of gaming. I did finally get around to starting Spiritfarer, hence the background. Really enjoying it so far, but I'm like a couple hours in. Basically, in the game, you become the Spiritfarer, so you take over from the previous person, and it's basically sort of a management sim where you're bringing these spirits onto your boat, you're building houses for them, you can go fishing, and just sort of collect resources. And it's all about sort of tying up their loose ends so they can like move on. I've heard it's heart wrenching, so I was like, yes, that's definitely for me. Just too busy lately, so I haven't had a lot of time to play it. But I have been playing it on my portal most of the time because the missus is off watching One Tree Hill on the TV, and now I finally can just sit down and play on the portal, which I'm really loving. It really feels great when you're using it. It's not overly heavy. It literally just feels like a DualSense. And yeah, the screen looks fantastic as well. So I'm really liking it.
When it works, it works. Great.
It's going to be absolutely phenomenal once the little one arrives and I could just play games without any issues. So I'm looking forward to that. But some other people on the website have also been playing some video games. We have a couple of reviews that have gone live. First one is Donkey Kong Country Returns HD, which was reviewed by Isaiah Ring. I believe this is his first review for the website. He gave the game an 8 out of 10 and said Donkey Kong Country Returns HD is a great remaster of a 2D platformer that shines the most with its engaging gameplay, likable characters, story, and slick performance. albeit the control mapping, some graphic changes, and other small unfavorable elements drag this fun game down. So I think we spoke about Donkey Kong quite a bit. This game is deceptively difficult, but I would love to play it again because it's been a long time since I checked it out.
What a great game.
Yeah, it's fantastic. We need a new, like, sort of standalone new installment of a Donkey Kong series. I'd love a Donkey Kong 64 remake one day, to be honest. I really love
it. Never.
It won't, because of the, I believe it was Retro that was behind that, wasn't it?
I always struggled with Donkey Kong 64.
Rare.
I found it was too bloated, you know?
As a kid, I remember liking it. I remember the big boxing like battle at the end.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So that's basically all I remember. Yeah. Another review on the website is Sniper Elite Resistance, which was reviewed by Alex Beatty. They gave the game a 7 out of 10 and said Sniper Elite Resistance is a tried and true long-range shooter that's comfortable being just that. Expansive mission areas allow players to engage at their own pace, despite the stealth even side of the game being a bit lackluster. The sniper gameplay is certainly the main draw, as you eviscerate Nazis with brutal X-ray cams of devastating shots showing that force in all its glory. Anyone played the Sniper Elite series?
Never.
Once.
Yeah, so I touched on it once, played a few levels. I was like, this is fun, but I don't know. It wore thin on me a little bit.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it would like I feel like it would be fun for like the first hour, and then it would just be like kind of the same thing over and over again. But I haven't played it, so yeah.
It's been going on forever, so it must obviously do well. Like, must have a cult following.
Yeah, I think I played mine on 360, I think is when I dabbled in it. So definitely a while back. Both those reviews are up on the website at the moment. That's next-play.com.au. So you go check that out. And thank you very much for those two reviews, Alex and Isaiah. We're now going to pass it off to Brad, as we are going to talk about the gaming news of the week. No! You'll go.
Right, first off the bat, not great news to start the year. Developers who worked on Dragon Age the Veilguard have announced that they have been laid off by BioWare. In EA's recent financial reports, the Veilguard performed below expectations by 50%, reaching only 1.5 million players last year. BioWare's latest restructure comes after General Manager Gary McKay announced that BioWare would restructure for the development of the next Mass Effect title, and that multiple employees would be redeployed to other EA studios. Trick Weeks is one of the employees who was let go, a developer who has been working with BioWare for over 20 years. Right, Jamie, I'll come to you first because you reviewed the game. Dragon Age fans are obviously worried at the moment that this might be the end of Dragon Age. Should they be worried?
That's a very good question. The issue is with EA. I've always found personally, and again, this is all subjective, I think they sort of over-exaggerate how much they think some of these games are going to sell. They've made that excuse of like not reaching sales expectations before. I think even the Dead Space remake, part of the reason why we haven't heard, and I think there was rumors that a remake of Dead Space 2 sort of got put on ice just because it didn't reach sales expectations. Though I know so many people who loved it, critically acclaimed and everything like that. It would be a shame. Like I think I've said on the podcast, Veilguard was my first sort of from start to end entry in the series. And it was fine. I think I gave it like a 7 or something in the end. I thought it was a good game. Like it wasn't bad. So it's a shame that this is how things have gone. I think I actually spoke to Berto during the week about this on Instagram
briefly
about this sort of got such a bad rap on social media so early. BioWare sort of doesn't have good luck when it comes to first impressions. Like even Andromeda with like the weird face stuff it was doing at launch, like it just got absolutely raked over the coals. And I think this is the sort of thing that's happened again with this. And unfortunately, we're in the day and age where word of mouth means kind of more than big social media campaigns or like TV commercials, movie theaters, or anything like that. Like word of mouth matters. And yeah, it's unfortunate that people have lost their jobs by the sounds. Hopefully the series doesn't go away completely.
The shit thing is though that like everyone was dogpiling on it before it came out or before they even played it. Like I know like DEI is like a hot topic right now, but you see it with almost every new AAA title that's been announced in the last few months. The amount of dislikes those trailers have on YouTube because someone doesn't look like a model, a Victoria's Secret model. The main character doesn't look like the best looking person in the world. Like it's ridiculous. And yeah, I don't know. It's just like almost infuriating that like even Naughty Dog's new game, the Heretic Prophet or whatever it's called. I'm already scared for that because of like all these people with their pitchforks saying that the main character isn't pretty enough or whatever. It's just bullshit, to be honest.
Did you see the it went viral a bit? It was you know how they do that thing where they go, oh, the character should look like this, and they all Photoshop it up and it basically just looks like a plastic Barbie.
Yeah.
A female did that with Joel and made him look all ironed out, look like a pretty boy. And so many people lost their minds going, you can't do that. He's an old man and all this sort of stuff. And it's just like the just how hypocritical it is. It's just so stupid. Like games should be fun despite whatever what the characters look like. Who like gives a shit, in my opinion. But
yeah, can we just like go back to enjoying games instead of picking apart
no one does
everything? Like, oh, it's so annoying. Berto, are not just EA, but are publishers in general expecting too high sales in a world where AAA titles cost $120 in a cost of living crisis too?
Well, yeah, I think you touched upon. Oops, sorry, I'm having like technical issues here today. I think you touched upon it before. Like, there's so many different points to the point you just made then, with regards to expectations, given how much things are. Okay, like at the beginning of this podcast, I was saying I'm buying games faster than I'm actually playing them. So I'm the complete opposite of the normal consumer, I would say. However, for those that are a more in a position to buy one game, it needs to be special, especially because it does cost so much. And as awful as it sounds, like being a mid game is not good enough anymore. You need to do it, and you need to do it well. But I think for Dragon Age in this instance, because it's tried to find its identity so many times. If you were to put a screenshot of all 5 of them, you know, end to end to end, you'd be surprised how different they all look. So even if you were to remove all the DEI elements of it, which really is irrelevant, apart from just the toxicity and the humorous memes, the ridiculousness of the memes, like the biggest fault that I see here is that I don't actually think that EA actually knew who they were targeting this game for. And I think they were just targeting the idea that we have Dragon Age fans and they'll buy it no matter what. But that's such a niche, small market. Like, in order for you to branch out and to succeed in this day and age is to make a game that is good for everyone, you know? And then, like you said, people latch onto that negativity, that toxicity. And, you know, that's such a major, like probably a major contributor. I don't think so, but it's like it's a very loud voice, and it's over here on the right hand side. But yeah, the price of things now, especially, you got to have a good game. And I'm not even saying it's a bad game. It's just doesn't really differentiate itself from what it was.
Like I would say like a major like open world game comes out every few months. Like back in the day when they were a bit more sparse, like people would get like really hyped up for open world games, but like I feel like everything, like every action adventure game or RPG is like trying to be like that open world game that they think everyone will pick up. But I feel like, yeah, as you guys have said, like people are a lot more selective on what games they're purchasing now. It's not just like games aren't going to sell themselves anymore like they used to. So yeah, it's a shame that jobs were lost because of this. It's just like it's not even just EA, it's like Square Enix also said performed below expectations for Rebirth, and I think there was another title, but I can't remember. But they're just so unrealistic with like what they're gonna sell now. Like,
because it costs
yeah,
too much to make games now. Like the
it
budget of a
does.
game is like, I don't know.
It's not
I'm
practical.
talking out of, it's like, yeah. So let's say it's 100 million. So you have to sell, I don't know, 10 million copies now, like just to like break even or something. Obviously, I'm just not talking specifically here, but you know, that's insane. Like most games to be successful, from my understanding, is usually like a million seller games are profitable or something to that effect. But now you got to do like 5, or you got to do bloody like Animal Crossing, you know, like 54 million or something stupid like that. Like it's like everyone's trying to chase lightning, but it's lightning in a bottle. Like that's the phrase, because it doesn't really happen often. You know,
Yeah.
just make a great game, market it well, and take it from there. That's the way I feel like they're too concentrating on the recouping cost part. So there's obviously something wrong with AAA gaming.
Yeah.
James.
Yeah, because I remember touching on it. There were a lot of rumors, and I'm pretty sure at one point there was meant to be online elements and everything in Dragon Age. Like, there's a lot of rumors it was meant to be sort of live servicey in a way. But I think that's where along the lines it sort of lost its identity a bit. And, you know, touching on the points you're making, like so many companies see, oh, look how much money and look how many players and how much they're selling over there. That's what we should aim for. And
Yeah.
as you said, lightning in a bottle, it doesn't happen all the time. Like Animal Crossing was like, what? It was during COVID, crazy times. And it was just like a perfect, as you said, lightning in a bottle moment. And then it blew up. But yeah, I think a lot of publishers just really sort of overdo it with, you've got to be realistic with the expectations. And this goes back to stuff I've touched before of like the ones making the decisions behind the scenes, the managers and everything. They're just setting the bar way too high, unrealistic expectations, and then unfortunately, jobs and studios end up being punished.
Yeah, I feel like Elden Ring, games like Elden Ring did set the benchmark very high, which is like also that lightning in a bottle moment. Like it has potential, or it had potential because of the word of mouth and how much it was being posted about on social media. You saw the same with Baldur's Gate 3 last year. Like there seems to be like one solid game a year that can like sell millions and millions of copies without even trying. Not that they're not trying, because they're fantastic games, but I doubt it was like the marketing campaign that sold all those copies.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts on this before we move on?
I wanted to. Oh, Berto, you go first.
I guess we both have final thoughts on it. And I think because you and I love the business side of it all and the ethical side of it all. But I think for Dragon Age, it is quite sad that it got to this state. I love Dragon Age. I bought the game. I haven't played this one fully yet. But I got the collector's edition just because I'm a fan of all the titles, right? But as someone who hasn't played it, my first impression of it, like when I saw it, was all the ridiculousness, like I told you guys, right? So obviously the marketing part of it, they just didn't hit the spot. They should have gone all in on it, you know? And I think I have a bit of concerns with regards to BioWare because they're not the BioWare that used to be years ago, decades ago. And I think a lot of people need to remember that as well. So like even me and my love for Metroid Prime, the Metroid Prime team for 4 is not even existent for the guys, you know, for Nintendo. Like we got to put things into relative terms here. So I am a little bit worried about Mass Effect because I love Mass Effect, and that's the next one allegedly. But yeah, I don't know where I was going with that. I guess I'm just a little bit down about it. It sucks.
Yeah, that's where I wanted to head with my final thoughts about, because massive Mass Effect fan. I've got thing hung up on the wall over here. I've been on day one. I remember when Mass Effect 3 came out, took 2 weeks off work, and I binged the first 2 games to replay them again to get to the third one. That was my life. I was single at the time, so I had more time on my hands. But I am a little worried about it in general because, as you said, Berto, like some of the probably most of the developers that were there for that first trilogy aren't there no more. So they're BioWare in name, but there are times in Veilguard where you can tell it's trying to, I don't want to say imitate, but it's trying to replicate moments from Mass Effect, at least 2. If you've played that, there's that sort of big mission where anything can happen. If you make bad choices, you know, characters will not come out of it. And they do try to replicate that in a sense in Veilguard, but you know, Mass Effect 2, they had the 2 game build up to that point, whereas this sort of felt, whilst I liked all the side characters in Veilguard, sort of felt a little bit more rushed to that point to try and go, this is what you liked, right? You know, the tense vibe and everything, but there's got to be stakes with characters that you absolutely adore. There's a reason why people still talk about Garrus and Tali and Rex and all these characters from the original Mass Effect series because like they're iconic and they've stuck around and they've just depicted so well. And it seems like with Mass Effect, the next one, we're going to probably not go back to Andromeda because that really didn't hit that well. And I don't think Andromeda was a horrible game at all. I think it's actually got the best combat in the series. But I think it lost, as we've said, the identity of what Mass Effect was a bit. So I really hope the next one's great. And I am psyched for it. Some of the trailers and everything, like if you're a hardcore fan, you've seen things, you know, like I know who that is, and I'm looking forward to N7 Day because I hope we get something. But you know, they're still obviously working on it, so I really hope it does well. But yeah, I'm trying not to get super optimistic. Just be cautious about it.
Just to close off this section, I just found an article that said 74% of EA's revenue last year came from live service games, and that is likely to include FC24 and Apex Legends. So, and as someone that plays Apex, like they bring out cosmetics every week. It's similar to Fortnite, but the cosmetics cost a lot of money, so that's not really surprising at all. So I guess it just shows that they're relying on their live service games, which is weird to say in a world where live service games aren't really sticking to the wall, are they? Except obviously these ones. So yeah, that is another interesting piece of news. Speaking of interesting news that came to light this week, probably my favorite news piece of the week too. IGN is reporting that Sleeping Dogs is getting a film. A source close to the project has told IGN that the Sleeping Dogs movie is in development and that Simu Liu, who plays Shang-Chi in Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, is producing and starring in the film as lead Wei Shen. The project in question has had an extremely rocky pre-production, being first announced in 2017 with Donnie Yen set to lead, though a few weeks ago Yen confirmed it had been cancelled. This new project is being led by media company Story Kitchen, who has worked on the highly successful Sonic the Hedgehog films and the animated Tomb Raider series on Netflix, and is also working on live-action film adaptations for Slime Rancher, Dredge, and Claire Obscure Expedition 33, which I didn't know about until I read this. So that's cool. Jamie, I'm pretty sure you and I both loved Sleeping Dogs.
Fantastic game.
Yes. What are your thoughts on this news?
I have heard rumors of a film, and I think at one point even a TV series. There was a lot of talk about this, and I'm all for it. I think it's a fantastic series. Basically, I remember there was they did almost a MMO type thing. It was like Sleeping Dogs Triads or something they tried at one point. I remember covering it back in the day, but it didn't really get off the ground. No one was really interested in it. It was like it went against what made Sleeping Dogs so good. It was like a single player, super story heavy with fantastic characters. And then they were like, hey, let's do an online thing. And it's like, that's not really what anyone would have wanted. So for backstory, Sleeping Dogs, from what I remember, was going to be another installment in the true crime series before it sort of got rebranded into Sleeping Dogs. And I loved, I think the second one was in New York City, the true crime series. And I absolutely adored that game as a kid. And yeah, Sleeping Dogs with the combat, it had like interactive environments. You could just knock people out on roller shutters, and you could jump out of your car and dive onto other cars as it was going. It's nuts that this came out on PS3. I replayed it with the PS4 remaster, and yeah, the story's just phenomenal. It was the first time I played all the DLC as well. It's like a Halloween one, which was super fun. Then they had one that was this sort of an homage to classic kung fu movies as well. It's a fantastic game. I absolutely adore it. Side note, we were watching Altered Carbon the other day, and the voice actor who plays Wei Shen is in that. And I was like, I know that voice. Fantastic game. If it comes out in a movie, we got the Until Dawn remake based on the fact that a movie was coming. So who knows? There's a reason to do it. I know you're going to touch on that in the next question, but yeah, we'll see. If they cast it well, it could be really good film.
Berto, have you played Sleeping Dogs?
I feel like I have. I definitely have it on my collection because the PS4 remaster came with like a little special edition.
It's like a sleeve slip thing.
Yeah. So I definitely have that, but I don't remember it that much. I feel like it's GTA from memory.
That's what I remember from it. Like it was very GTA coded, not as big and it wasn't filled with as many like meaningless things as a GTA game would have. From what I can recall, it didn't have like strip clubs and all that, but it was set in. Did it?
Oh. Yeah, I remember you had to do it for the trophies. That's the only reason I remember.
It's been probably 12, 13 years since I played it, so I can't remember much. So I'd really love a current gen remaster. Jamie, Berto, do you think we might see one ahead of the film?
Yeah, I could see it happening.
Yeah.
I think what made it just slightly more unique, because GTA, normally it's the depiction of America, but I think just because it was like in Hong Kong and it was just sort of, it felt different, like it felt fresh at the time, at least for me.
Yeah.
And I think I replayed it only like 2 years back, so it's still quite fresh in my mind, and I think it still really holds up. So I think, hell, if you go PS6, like let's just go straight up remake from the ground up. I think it could be really cool.
I think it'll be the opposite. I think they'll release it, and then if it does well, they'll release the game afterwards. Possibly. I don't know.
It's a
The thing is,
gamble
like,
because Square Enix also said that underperformed too. So
yeah,
it's hard to see like if they would throw some money behind a remaster. Like, I can definitely not see it getting a remake. It would have to just be a remaster, but I don't know, with GTA 6 coming out, is it even a good idea?
no, it's such a niche game, right? Like,
I like
we
it.
remember it. You like
No,
it, yeah,
yeah,
I
you can
do
like a
really
niche
like
game.
yeah.
we have a
like,
remake. It's fine.
I'll
I don't know. I don't,
I'll go to say that it was my favorite game on the PS3. That came out on the PS3. Like,
Really?
that's how much
That's
I
a
enjoyed
huge call.
yeah, man.
You'd love it more than I do, then.
Okay, sorry, maybe top 5. But I really did like it.
That's a podcast at one point. We go through the best games of history.
Yeah, we should.
But yeah, it'll be interesting. I feel like, I think Square would have their hesitations, and I could see it falling victim to what it fell victim to back when it came out. I can't remember if, I think it was just slept on, pun intended. So yeah,
That's a pretty good pun.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, before it gets awkward, Forza 5 is coming to the PS5.
Yeah.
Playground Games, the developers behind Forza Horizon 5, have announced that the game will be launching on PS5 in autumn this year. This marks the first time a game in the series has made its way to a PlayStation console and joins initial Xbox exclusives Sea of Thieves, Hi-Fi Rush, Grounded, and soon to be Indiana Jones and the Great Circle to the list of growing games to go multi-platform. On the topic of Xbox games coming to PlayStation, rumors are swelling around online that Fable will be available on PS5 on day one alongside Xbox Series XS and PC. This is all but confirmed, but it does make sense considering how heavily weighted Nintendo and PlayStation are in the console market. Right, so we'll start with Forza. I'm guessing, Jamie, you haven't played it because you haven't owned an Xbox for a while. Have you played any Forza games?
I have a bunch in my backlog from Xbox One, but I never popped it in. I'm not a big racing guy, unless
Me
it's more
neither.
arcadey stuff.
Yeah, I think Mario Kart is like basically the only racing game I'll play. So, yeah, Berto, have you ever played them?
Yeah, the Forza games I have. Yeah, they're great. Extremely well made and like full racing games. Like, I love Gran Turismo. I love Mario Kart too. I love my arcadey games, but even when it comes to like driving simulations or something close to that, it's a fantastic game to have. It's so strange to say that it's coming to PlayStation. It is the weirdest thing to say. In fact, when you see that logo pop up saying an Xbox Studio on a PlayStation, it's going to be trippy as all hell. So just with Forza, look, I think it's a great multi-platform game. I think driving games are, because it just is. It's just, people that love driving games, really, multiplayer games and everything like that. So, there's nothing really offensive about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I've heard Forza Horizon 5 is like considered one of the best racing games ever made. Still don't think that would make me enjoy it, but
I think if I'm incorrect, the Horizon ones are a little bit more on the arcadey side, whereas it's the motorsport ones that are like the dead set sims, right?
Yeah. I mean, look how
maybe I
good it
will
looks.
give it a go. Yeah, maybe I will
should.
give it a go. Because I
You
didn't
should. It's a lot of fun.
I had a bit of fun with like Need for Speed. I think it was Heat or something. And that was very arcadey. So yeah, maybe I will try it. We'll see when that episode of the podcast comes out later in the year. And over to Fable. It is a rumor, but what are your thoughts? Do you think it's obviously a great idea for them to release it on PlayStation? Do you think it's the right call?
For who?
For Xbox. Well, yeah, for Xbox. Yeah.
Yeah, like it depends which perspective you're looking at it. Fable releasing on PlayStation is great for PlayStation. I don't know if it's good for Xbox. I mean, unless depending
They'll
on
get
how
money
much
out
they
of
make,
it though.
they get money out of it. Yeah, but then this is the beginning of like that weird ecosystem that they're creating, and the console itself is now starting to become almost irrelevant. And I don't know how they're going to separate it. It's going to be a very strange divorce in a way.
Yeah.
Like I don't know what the future looks like. Like I can see what they're doing, but to have Fable after all these years having an Xbox, and let's say, I'm the biggest Xbox fan in the world, right? And then all of a sudden it's like, oh yeah, it's PlayStation 2. It's like, why? Why did I invest in this? Like I can't help but feel there might be a little bit of backlash, but obviously if the game's so good, everyone's going to buy it anyway. So it'll be a moot point.
I think they've accepted that they've lost the console race. Like PlayStation and Nintendo are light years ahead of them in terms of sales. Like they're gonna make the most money dropping it on the Switch 2 and the PlayStation 5 as well. And like, assuming Game Pass doesn't come to those consoles as well, I can see people dropping $100 to $120 on Fable 4 if it looks good enough. What do you think, Jamie?
I played Fable 2 back in the day, and I really didn't like it. It just felt like this is gonna be offensive to someone. It's like an RPG for babies. It's just like it really just sort of
I am offended.
It felt really watered down, and I know, Mr. Molyneux, I'm sorry, but like it just didn't hit for me again.
Here we go again.
We've already dragged him enough.
I
on
always
this
come for him.
He's outside my door right now with a baseball bat. He's like ready to hit.
He's about to rant you to death about why this game is amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Like it just.
Seed.
I remember you had a dog, and it was like the last decision. I believe it was Fable 2. It was like the last decision was that you could like save your dog or save your family or something like that. I like the concept of like, you go and marry someone in the game, and like you have a family you can go home to in the game. But like I saved the dog in the end because like it's a dog. Of course, I'm going to save the dog. Anyway, so I got off topic here. Basically, I'm not particularly excited about Fable. I need to see a little bit more. Like the trailers look like it's trying to do a more comedic take, which is interesting. I need to see more. Do I think it's good that it's coming elsewhere? I think it's good for the gamers. So that's not a bad thing for anyone. If you wanted to play Xbox games and now you have a PlayStation, you are now having more Xbox games coming over. I think that's good for the gamers in the end. Xbox obviously must have some sort of long-term goals which are going to eventually just phase out consoles completely, and it's just an app ecosystem / publisher, multi-platform publisher. So if that's what they're going to do, once again, I think us as the people who play the games benefit the most.
And around the room, a little rapid fire question. What Xbox game do you want to see on PlayStation? Don't say Halo.
Oh man,
we already talked about that.
I know. It's the only one I want. That's the one. That's the big fish.
Well, I'll start off. I'll say, is it cheating if I say Starfield? Because
that works. I think it will come eventually. Anyway.
I think later this year it'll come out, like September, October. I think it'll come out on PS5.
I think that was one of my predictions on the first podcast this year. Was that?
Oh, is that where I got that from?
I have good predictions. I 100% think that's happening.
Then I agree with your prediction. Berto.
I think two that I would love to see, and I know we're not talking about ones that are currently out now or have been released, but Perfect Dark, I'd love that to be PlayStation 5. Because I loved the 64 version, and this one looks very interesting. But also, obviously, not knowing what the Elder Scrolls is going to be, if it's going to be exclusive or what's that going to happen with that one? It would have to come to PlayStation 5 because
they'd be crazy to keep that Xbox exclusive.
Yeah, but this is where that whole Fable and Master Chief conversation come in. It's like these are their big dogs kind of thing.
Yeah, true. It's interesting, but I feel like, I already said, I think they'll lose too much money if they don't. Like, even if it's a timed exclusive, like, I guess Indiana Jones was a timed exclusive. I think they'll start doing that, but then still also have games that will come out at the same time on day one too. So, Jamie, did you say one or?
No, I haven't yet. My honorable mention and a more mainstream would be the Gears of War series. I would love to see that on PlayStation, but I will say we've already brought it up, and I'm loving the fact that we're talking about Ori a lot on this show.
Oh, yeah.
I would want both Ori games to come over because they're already on Switch, so like it's not beyond the concept of reality for it to come on to another platform. And I'd love to have the platinum trophies for both. Yeah, it's a little strange. I thought it was once it came to Switch, I thought it was like only a matter of time, but I know that there has been some stuff going on at Moon Studios before, and I did see a rumor recently that they were apparently reached out to for potentially another Ori game. But I'd love to see both those, and I'd love to get the platinum for it because I think I got all the achievements for them, all the Chivos. But I'd love to get that cheeky plat. Both games are fantastic. Listeners, watchers, go play Ori.
It is strange how it's not on the PlayStation and yet it's on the Switch. So
I actually thought it was until you said it wasn't.
Because you'd have to do more development to make it work on the Switch than you would to just simply port it over to the PlayStation. When you think about it,
you would think.
You'd think so. It was around that time when, like, I want to say it was also around the time like Smash was happening and like Banjo-Kazooie appeared in Smash and all this sort of stuff. So like Nintendo and Xbox were friendly for a bit and they were like, here you go, have Ori. And then, it just never went any further than that. But physical double pack on the PlayStation 5. Yes, please sign me up.
Yeah, that'll be awesome.
I reckon they'll tease the third game and then be like, oh yeah, here's the first and second game on PS5.
Whew. Yes.
Yeah, that could work.
I should start marketing games. Like, I just know
we should. We give away so many ideas on this show.
We do. Last piece of news, kind of another sad one. Warner Brother Games has announced that MultiVersus will be shutting down. MultiVersus Season 5 will be the final season of the game and run from February 4th to May 30th. All online features will continue to be available until the season ends, whereafter the game will only be playable in an offline mode via a local gameplay mode against AI opponents or with up to 3 friends. Warner Brother Games recently shut down Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, another live service game that only lasted 1 year. Boys, did either of you play any MultiVersus?
No.
Nope, I didn't play Branding, the video game. No.
I liked it, but like, it also wasn't Smash Brothers, which is just like the ultimate fighting, I guess not arcade fighting game, but like that type of thing.
So weird watching this and seeing all the different IPs in this. Isn't Game of Thrones also in this, or am I mistaken?
Yeah, no, Arya Stark is.
Is it really?
It's just WB Warner Brothers are just like, here's all our IPs, let's put them in a blender, and it just cohesively it makes like Gremlins is rocked up. Sorry, someone else go.
I like the idea of this.
If you're listening on Spotify, jump over to YouTube because we're watching the trailer as we talk.
I like this idea. It looks awesome. But again,
on paper, it's a great idea. But
on paper, but who's it for? You know, who's this for?
Okay, when it first launched, like it had that early access window, which was like 2 years ago now. People were frothing it, and then they randomly took it away for like a year and then brought it back last year. And it's just never been the same.
Yeah, so they had lightning and then they put it away and instead got
I mean, I'm sure there was a reason behind pulling it off the store and everything, but like there was a lot of hype around it the first time it came out. James.
Sorry, joke is on the Iron Throne in Westeros, and I can't. Oh, Jason's here. So I'm just distracted. Never played it. These sort of things, like, I don't know, when you just mush all the IPs together, it's a bit strange for me. It's the same like Funko did it last year, where it was just like some Umbrella Academy, and then it was like Back to the Future, and like aside from just trying to get your nostalgia and try to get all the fans into one place, I don't know, aesthetically it just doesn't click with me, but I can understand why they do it.
Smash Bros works so well because like it's got very iconic franchises that everyone loves, that everyone that would have a Nintendo console would recognize to some degree. Like no one's like the biggest Jason Voorhees fan that's gonna grab this game and be like, oh my god. Like no one's like super rabid foaming at the mouth for any of these Warner Brother characters. I feel that's like it's not got, the roster just isn't iconic enough, I think.
It's a gaming, like Smash Brothers, I feel succeeds because it's an event. And when they did those reveals of all these new characters, those trailers were damn good, you know? And then they followed it up with those addictive amiibos. But like Smash Brothers is video game based. Like it's just video game characters. Whereas this one you're talking about Game of Thrones. So like if you're a Game of Thrones fan, are you really going to go, oh, I can beat up the Joker and Winnie the Pooh,
and Rick and Morty?
It's got nothing to do with gaming. It's just like like getting a big, getting a batch of darts and just throwing them all and hoping that it lands. It's like, yep, they're your characters. I think even Fortnite exceeds to a certain degree because it's like it's branched out to fucking, sorry for swearing, but it's branched out to everything, right? Everything's included in Fortnite now. So like, I don't know. I just feel like With this one, it just seems so odd. Like there's the number one fan of, Tom and Jerry isn't really going to go out there and go, "Yep, I need this game right now."
Yeah, because they're like 90 years old. That's why.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, like I said, I understand why they do it, because on paper they would have been like, "Oh, should we make a game and put some of the characters? Why not put all the characters in?" And they all would have clapped, and then they would have made the game. That's all. It's not something for me. Like they could have done maybe a similar game where it was just DC characters, and that way it's just all superheroes and supervillains type thing. Like, hey, you got Capcom versus Marvel. You know what I mean? It's in the title. It's all Marvel characters and Capcom characters.
Yeah, Warner Brothers is such a weak, like, collective group of IPs compared to, like, as you said, like DC, and even like if they brought out a new PlayStation All Stars or whatever that was called, I'd play the hell out of that.
But now it works because they have history. They have a lot more history. Yeah.
Aloy, bloody Joel and Ellie. I would love that. So my
it's just
wish
a trauma
list.
dump. That's all it is.
Yeah. Right. So it feels like new live service games these days struggle to last longer than a year. How does a new live service game, and there's a few coming out from, well, PlayStation's got one coming out soon. I'm pretty sure Xbox has one coming out soon. How are they going to be successful in a world where Fortnite, Apex, and Marvel Rivals all have the player base that absolutely cannot be ripped apart from those games? Tough
That's
question, I know.
Yeah, that's probably the toughest question you've ever asked.
You know what my answer is? I don't think they can. I don't think they can. Jamie?
Would Marvel Rivals be as played as it is right now if it wasn't Marvel characters?
No.
So you need to establish it off an IP. I know this is hypocritical to what I was saying before, where they just threw all the IPs at the wall. But you need to establish it on an IP that everyone has that attachment to, which, like Marvel, they do. Like with the MCU, it's Tom and Jerry live service.
Absolutely.
They need to leverage an IP that people appreciate and love, and it needs to be either attached to nostalgia or just that fondness for the series. So I think if anything is to succeed, I don't think original live services now, unless they're doing something completely wackadoodle, which is just like unique enough that it brings people in. But then it's like, how long do they last? What was the Fall Guys? Fall Guys was massive. That was like the little jelly bean guys running around. It was like a game show, live service type thing. And that was massive for a long time. Rocket League was huge and still has a player base. It's different. You know, it's just an online sort of game. But I mean, like, it needs to either differentiate itself enough from the established ones, or either bring you in with some sort of pre-established sort of a connection to it already, which I think that's where Concord really failed. Like, no one had an attachment to these characters. No one really cared. And then also, once we've already touched on the podcast, negative word of mouth as well just sort of sent it to die.
Flying. Yeah.
That's what I think anyways, but it's a struggle.
I think there is, it's a struggle, but it can succeed. But they can't all succeed. That's the thing. So if the pie is so big, right? And Fortnite's taking a huge chunk, and Apex and all those, like, there's only so much left. Especially with Marvel Rivals, like, that's blown up huge. And it's a good game. It's a great game. It's fun. But unless someone comes up with something that's just as addictive as those games were when they were at launch, before they became what they became, I just can't see it happening.
DC Rivals.
Even I don't see that one succeeding.
No, it won't. It won't.
Not at all.
Like, I know Apex was like very early on in like this whole live service thing, but that was attached to Titanfall as well, so that wasn't completely unique either. And I'm pretty sure they just randomly stealth dropped it, and then everyone just swarmed on it. So
yeah, but they were the developers of Modern Warfare, right? Originally,
no,
I think
were they?
the studio itself, Respawn, wasn't, but I believe was it like Vince Zampella or something that founded that. So like he was, so the guy who started it, his experience was there, but yeah, the studio itself wasn't behind it, if that makes sense.
Okay. Yeah, that makes yeah.
All right, any closing thoughts on MultiVersus?
Lol.
All right, and that is the news for this week. Back to you, Jamie.
All right, now we're going to be talking about the games we are excited for in February 2025. Now, I'm going to start, and I'm going to cheat by picking 3 because I can't choose between them. I won't go too long.
You're choosing 3?
Yes, I am.
Okay, I'm going to choose 3 then. That's fair.
All right, easy. I host the show. I'll let you do that. I believe, did it come out today? Kingdom Come Deliverance 2?
Yeah.
So when I was at the shops, I did see it there, but I was like, oh, I didn't actually know that was out already. I actually think that looks fantastic. I never played the original, but like I watched the launch trailer earlier today, and like it has an identity. You know what I mean? It feels like it's got this brutal world, but it's also not taking itself too seriously as well. I haven't actually looked to see what any of the review scores are going for that, but yeah, I'm actually really interested.
They've been pretty positive.
Pretty good. Yeah, very positive.
Nice. Yeah, it looks great. Second one, Avowed. I don't have an Xbox. Like I said last week, I don't think my Fire Stick is going to be able to allow me to play Avowed. But when it does come to PlayStation, I will definitely check it out. The other one, as I've mentioned on the podcast multiple times, Like a Dragon, Pirate, Yakuza in Hawaii. I'm up to date with the Yakuza games. It took me years and years, but I finished with Infinite Wealth over Christmas. So I'm looking forward to checking this one out. Berto, what are yours?
My 3 that I've written down is my top one is Avowed. I'm really interested in that one. Yeah, it'll be interesting how it goes, but I love that studio. Great RPG history with them as well. The other one that I have, funnily enough, because I reviewed the other remaster for it, was the Tomb Raider 4-6. So that means that I'm pretty sure all Tomb Raider games now will be re-released now, physically.
I think so, yeah.
So that's great. No more spending $200 on one game if I'm not even quite sure how much they're worth. So, again, more for the historical part of owning video games. And the other one was the Legend of Heroes, the Trail series. They got another one coming out. I think this is the 5th one, maybe. I've collected them and I've started one of them, but I just like the idea that they keep going. And anything to kind of like plug a JRPG, to be honest. They're a lot of fun.
How about yourself, Brad?
Lost Records Bloom and Rage Part 1 comes out on the 18th. Very excited for that. I love myself a choose your own adventure type game. They don't come out as often as they used to, so it's always like kind of cool when they do. Yeah, super. The vibes in it are great, so yeah, very keen for that one. Also keen for Avowed as well. That looks good. And I have to say, Like a Dragon, Pirate, Yakuza in Hawaii, just because of how charming the main character is. Every time I see him, I'm like, oh. He's such an idiot. But yeah, that's it for me.
Yeah, as I said before the podcast, I didn't realize Lost Records was coming out already, so I'm very keen for that one as well. It is now time for the Next Play Game Corner. And so each week, the winner of the previous week quizzes the other panelists using games like trivia, name the game, and more. As I was the winner last week, I am the quiz master. Now, so how I've done this, it's 2 rounds to start. So we're going to take turns. Basically, it's going to be a Russian roulette type thing. You go first, you pick a character that is featured in this game. If it is, you pass. It goes to the next person. They do. And until someone gets it wrong, that's when you bite the bullet. That means you've lost. So that means the point goes to the other person, right? So does that make sense?
I had technical issues. So I need you to say it to me one more time. Sorry.
All right. So there will be 2 rounds. You will take turns at who goes first. I have picked 2 different games that have a roster of characters included. And you will take turns picking a character that you believe is in the game. If you pick a character that was not, you lose, and the round goes to the other person. So you have to try and outlast. Does that make sense?
So I just got to name a character.
That's in the game, yes.
Okay, got it.
And then if it's tied at 1-1, I have a tiebreaker, which is a nice, well-spoken user review from Metacritic. So we have that as a nice little thing. So we'll start off with the easy one that I have so you can get an idea of how the game works. So Mario Kart 64. I want you to take turns of mentioning there's only 8 characters in this game, so it's a nice, easy one. So you will pick a character that you believe is in the game. If you get it right, you continue. If you get it wrong, you lose. The other person gets the point. And we'll take it in terms of who goes first so it's fair. So who wants to go first on this one?
I will.
Brad,
I said
Brad got in first.
Okay, go.
Alrighty, Brad. So there's 8 characters. You have to name a character that is in the game.
Mario.
Playable, obviously. Yeah, there you go. Nice. Good work. Who would have thought he was in this one?
Oh, I know, right?
Berto, 7 left.
Luigi.
Nice.
Toad.
All right, almost halfway.
Peach.
Nice. 4 to go, Brad.
Yoshi.
Yoshi is in it. 3 remain.
Bowser's
in it. 2 left. Come on, Brad.
Who the hell else is in it?
Good game's a good game. Come on.
Hang on, I'm thinking.
Not looking at your phone, are you?
No, I'm looking down at my lap in disgust.
Yes. At the cartridge of
at the
Mario
cartridge,
Kart
he has
64 that you had it
64.
prepped.
He has a copy right there. Yeah.
Can't take a stab in the dark. Prominent Mario characters.
Oh, Donkey Kong.
Oh,
is he?
I never factored. Yes, he is. He is.
What do you mean you never factored him? Is he in it?
I never factored in if they choose every single one. I'm like,
okay.
Yeah, I expected someone to fail. Right, so there's one left, Brad. Yes, you were right. 1 left.
If I can guess the last one, do I get the point? Oh wait, I won anyway. Didn't I?
If Berto gets it wrong, then you get the point.
Holy hell! I actually forget the last one.
Yeah.
It's not Waluigi, unfortunately.
I'm just trying to think who else it could be. It is.
Come on, Berto. Just take a stab.
No, I want to get it right. I can't take a stab. I don't want Brad to win. Holy heck. Because I was going to say Donkey Kong. Because I remember Donkey Kong. But I don't remember anyone else.
I can't give clues. So I'm going to give you...
I wanted to say Boo, but I don't think it's Boo.
So is that who you're picking?
I am picking someone, and I'm taking my time to stall.
I'm going to give you 6 more seconds.
Oh, I know who it is. I think.
All right, you can take a stab after him. So you got 5, 4, 3, 1. Who is it?
Okay, I'm going to look. Wait, Berto, is Berto guessing?
Am I guessing?
Yeah, I'm waiting for you to guess. Your time's ticked down.
Yeah, I forget now. I'm going to say it's going to say he's warrior, but I think I'm wrong.
You're correct.
That's what I was going to say.
He actual.
100%. All right, so you both get a point. That was unexpected. You're not going to get all the roster for the next game, and it's really funny that you guys brought up PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale, because that is the other roster.
True. Oh, no.
There are so many characters in this game that make
I haven't played that game.
Well, then you're going to suck. So, Berto,
can you tell me?
Can
you tell me when the game came out?
It was around the time of the Vita. That helps, because I remember I played it on Vita.
Jesus Christ.
So, like,
you want me to remember it? Okay.
Yes.
First character is... So I could lose this straight away, hey?
You could, 100%. It's 24 characters, including DLC characters.
Kratos.
That was my first guess. I don't know. I could literally just get it wrong now.
You could, 100%.
Snake. He's got to be in it.
No,
bull crap.
No, bull.
There's a lot of swearing in this episode.
I was going to say.
He's a PlayStation icon.
The roster was crazy. We had characters like
guessing?
Fat Princess. Yeah, you can if you want. Don't say Fat Princess. She's taken.
It's Fat Princess. No, okay.
Who the hell is that?
Is it indie character?
Okay.
Sackboy, whatever his name is he in?
Sackboy's in it, yeah. Keep going.
That Katamari dude, is he in it?
No, I don't believe so.
Okay, then all
right, so just to sort of tell you how crazy this is, because I think this was before they had so many amazing PlayStation mascots, really. So Parappa was in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Parappa was in it. Sweet Tooth was in it. Colonel Raddick, the random evil guy from Killzone, was in it.
Really?
Yeah. Sly Cooper, Nathan Drake, 2 different versions of Cole McGrath, Jack and Daxter, the Big Daddy from BioShock.
The Big Daddy.
The emo Dante, the main character from Heavenly Sword, if anyone remembers that game at all. Heihachi, Raiden. Raiden made it, but not Snake. Because that was around Revengeance time. So Daniel Fortescue, Spike from Ape Escape, Toro Inoue. I don't know who that is. It's a little cat character, which I believe is a mascot for PlayStation over in Japan. Cat and Dusty from Gravity Rush. Emmett Graves from, I believe it was, actually, you don't remember the game. Oh, well. Zeus was in it from God of War, and even Isaac Clarke popped up. It's very much third-party heavy.
Oh, I definitely wouldn't have gotten... I think I would have guessed Jack and Daxter and maybe Nathan Drake before I threw in the towel then.
So technically, Berto's on 2, Brad's on 1. Do we want to go to the Metacritic review, or do we just want to call Berto the victor?
The review. Let Brad have a chance.
Alrighty, try and tie it up. Is that what you want to do?
Yeah.
Alrighty, so the game, I've blacked out some of the words that give it away, but if you struggle by the end of it, I'll reveal those words, and they will tell you what game it is. So it's a 2 out of 10. The good. Good graphics, water looks great, and the Unreal Engine is really good. The bad. So that's what it got its 2 from. The rest is all bad. This game is drivel. It's a zombie shooter where enemies have no sense of self-preservation and require no skill to kill. They range from titties to highly armored, which means if you don't have any ammo, expect to have to respawn over and over to kill them. They also reappear. So if you've cleared a room, leave and re-enter, half the time new enemies come back. The map is difficult to use. Why isn't my head the tip of the arrow on the map? As a result, navigation is confusing and almost impossible. The game is too complicated. Not content with one monetary system, they've introduced a second. All of the different potions and lotions are too much. I lose track of which category of power-ups I am using and which ones I don't care about. Apparently, this is all explained in the end with a great twist, but I probably won't bother ever completing this game, so I won't see it. I'm so bored of this game after playing it for 9 hours, and I think I would just cheat my way through the rest. I can shoot blank for my respawn point, because if you run out of money with decent weapons, you can barely kill them. The other enemies are basically zombies, just mindlessly running around. I am completely baffled why this game has scored so highly. I'm only glad I bought it 5 years after its release instead of paying for full price. Does anyone have any stabs in the dark at this one? Gonna say that's a no.
Days Gone.
It's hard. Oh,
Days Gone is incorrect.
Is it? Oh.
All right, so I'm going to read you a sentence that has one of the words unblocked down. I keep getting mixed up between physical and combat tonics and keep buying more slots for the wrong one. Does anyone know what that is? Tonics being the keyword.
Tonic sounds like Bioshock.
The Witcher.
Bioshock.
It is Bioshock.
The Witcher. Oh, Bioshock.
What? Yeah. This guy absolutely hated it. I'm guessing he's just meaning all the people that have just been hyped up on all the Adam and stuff. But yeah, I cut some of that because I didn't realize I was going to be reading 2 pages of this damn thing. But yeah, the guy does not like Bioshock. Yeah, I had to black out Big Daddies. You can kill them from your spawn point and everything. But Berto's taking it out 3-1.
He did.
So that means next week Berto will be the quiz master. But that means I believe Brad is still sitting down at the bottom on 2.
Wait, one or 2? 1.
Oh, you got one. Well, I'm reading what you have here.
I was just giving myself a special.
He's just trying to absolutely dodge up the scoreboard. I'm sitting on 3, and Berto now taking the lead on 4. With the game corner complete, we are at the end of this week's episode of the NextPlay Podcast. You can support the podcast by leaving a 5-star review on wherever it is you are listening to us or watching on YouTube. Hello. And don't forget to check out next-play.com.au for the latest video game news and reviews. As I said, we have Sniper Elite and Donkey Kong all up at the moment, as well as our socials at NextPlayAU. And if you are watching us on YouTube, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and comment down below. I've been your host today, Jamie, and you can find me at JamieX66 on Instagram. And joining me today has been Brad.
What up? You can find me everywhere at Brad_EXP or on Blue Sky, Brad Goodwin.
and Berto.
And you can find me on Instagram as pause_gamer.
All right, everyone. Thanks for joining us, and we will see you next week. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.